Chapter 38, The Heart of the Magic. The moment they stepped through the archway, everything around them seemed to shift. The forest vanished in an instant, replaced by a strange, otherworldly landscape. The ground beneath their feet was no longer dirt or moss, but smooth, polished stone that hummed with energy, as if it were alive. The sky above them was a swirling mass of colors, purple, gold, and deep blue, constantly shifting and rippling like liquid. Decima stumbled as the change happened so abruptly, but Daniel caught her arm, steadying her. She glanced at him, her eyes wide with shock and wonder. Neither of them had expected this. "What is this place?" Decima whispered, her voice thick with awe. Daniel didn't immediately answer. He was too busy scanning the strange landscape, his gaze drawn to the distant horizon, where a massive mountain rose up from the earth, its peak lost in the shifting colors of the sky. The mountain seemed to pulse with energy, just like the stones beneath their feet. "I don't know," Daniel said at last, his voice low. "But I think we're in the heart of the magic. The dragons are close, and the answers we've been searching for, they're here." The air was heavy with the scent of ancient power, and every breath they took seemed to resonate with the magic of this place. It was as if the very fabric of the world was different here, tuned to a frequency they had never known. "We need to keep moving," Daniel said, his eyes never leaving the mountain in the distance. "There's something waiting for us there." Without another word, they began walking toward the mountain. The path was winding and uneven, but the ground felt firm beneath their feet, as though it were designed to guide them toward their destination. As they walked, the air seemed to grow warmer, the swirling colors in the sky deepening, becoming more vivid with every step. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble beneath them. The vibrations were subtle at first, but then they grew stronger, and the air itself seemed to crackle with energy. Decima felt her heartbeat quicken, the magic in the air calling to her, urging her to hurry. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice tinged with unease. Daniel stopped in his tracks, his eyes narrowing. "Something's coming." Before Decima could ask what he meant, the ground ahead of them shifted. Large stone doors, hidden in the side of the mountain, began to rise, slowly revealing a dark cavern beyond. The doors were covered in the same glowing runes they had seen on the archway, but now they pulsed with a fiercer, more urgent energy. "We're too late," Daniel said, his voice strained. "They've already awakened." Decima's heart sank. They had come so far, only to find that whatever lay within the cavern had already been stirred. She could feel it, the presence of something ancient, something powerful that had been waiting for them. The dragons, perhaps, or something even older. With a sense of foreboding, they stepped toward the cavern, the doors now fully open. The moment they crossed the threshold, the air seemed to change. It was colder here, and the air was thick with the scent of something ancient, as though the very walls of the cavern had been carved from the bones of the earth itself. The cavern stretched out before them, vast and endless, filled with jagged stone columns that seemed to stretch to the heavens. In the distance, Decima could see flickers of light, like flames dancing in the shadows, but she couldn't tell if they were real or simply an illusion, created by the strange magic that saturated the air. "We're not alone," Daniel muttered, his voice tense. "Stay close." Decima nodded, but her eyes were drawn to the flickering lights ahead. It was hard to focus on anything else, the pull of magic growing stronger the further they walked into the cavern. Then, as if in response to their presence, the ground trembled again. This time it wasn't just a vibration, it was a roar, deep and resonant, that seemed to come from the very heart of the earth. The sound was deafening, and Decima felt her pulse race in her ears as the cavern shook. And then, from the depths of the cavern, they saw it. A pair of glowing eyes, brighter than the stars themselves, appeared in the darkness. They were massive, ancient, and full of an intelligence that seemed to stretch back through the ages. The eyes blinked once, then locked onto Decima and Daniel, as though it had been waiting for them all along. A voice filled their minds, deep and powerful, echoing through the cavern like a thunderclap. "Who dares awaken the dragons?" Decima froze, her breath caught in her throat. The voice was not just in her ears, it was inside her head, a whisper that reverberated through her very bones. Daniel stepped forward, his voice steady despite the overwhelming power of the presence before them. "We are the ones who broke the curse. We've come to seek the truth, to find the dragons." The eyes narrowed, and the voice spoke again, this time tinged with amusement. "The truth? The truth is a dangerous thing to seek, but you have come far, and the time has come for the dragons to rise again." With those words, the ground beneath them shook again, and the cavern seemed to come alive. Stone began to shift and move, revealing shapes that had long been hidden in the darkness. The dragons were waking. Decima's heart raced. The dragons, the very creatures she had only heard of in myths and legends, were real, and now they were coming for them.